Hey, silly rabbits. It's me, Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Season 3, Episode 3 of Reasonable Doubt. This was another really good, solid episode. So we pick up where we left off on last week's episode with Jax and Lewis at the door with her daddy, who has just popped up out the blue after 8 years. And he says that he's coming to see her because he has a permanent gig in town, and he also goes on to tell her he's been clean for the last 5 years. But Jax is like, first of all, why are you just popping up at my house? Second of all, I haven't seen you in 8 years. And the 2 times you were in California and I reached out to you, you ghosted me. So I'm just perplexed of how you could think you can just pull up. Like, excuse you? So he tries to explain himself and says that, he want to sit down and have dinner with her. But Jax is like, nah. And next time you think about popping up, don't. And slams the door in his face. And she tries to pretend to Lewis like everything is all good. They're going to continue on with their day like nothing happened. But she goes into the bathroom and she is visibly shaken and upset. Because, for her character, it has to be very traumatizing for this man who has been in and out of her life, her entire life, to just pop back up out of the blue, especially when she has all of this stuff going on in her life. Like, it just could not be the worst time ever for her daddy to make an appearance. You know what I'm saying? So I really feel bad for Jax, but I also feel like it's a necessary issue that she needs to focus on, because I think her daddy issues play a lot into her marriage and who she just is as a woman as well. So Ozzie is put on bail, but for $5 million. Even though he has no priors or anything like that. But considering the case, the judge is not having it. So he's out on bail. But this fool, I don't know who he think he is. I don't know if he think he Jesus and the Latter-day Saints, but he's out and about. Paparazzi, of course, are swarming him, asking him questions. One of them asks him a question that, of course, is so rude. And he ends up shoving the paparazzi guy, who, of course, presses charges. So then he's told to be on house arrest. But once again, he thinks that he's above the law, and he leaves the house and goes to the community center in his gated community. And Jax is like, excuse you, sir, do you not know what house arrest means? So now the judge is threatening for his bail to be revoked if he does anything else. Like, Jax has been just going back and forth to the court regarding this fool. So the partners during the group meetings or whatever request that Jax keep them in the loop on Bill's performance. And she kind of looking like, who y'all talking to? Like, y'all do understand that I'm not an employee. I'm a partner in this firm. My name is on the door. Like, why am I constantly being asked to report to y'all? Like, excuse you? Like, what? So she like, okay, like, whatever. Ozzie, meanwhile, is at home posting pics on the gram, posting thirst traps and all types of stuff. Like, he is losing it. He is wilding out. Like, he is just out of control. And it's so funny because we can honestly see a celebrity behaving like this in real true life. So Jax asks, isn't his sister supposed to be watching him? And they like, yeah. So she was like, well, obviously that's not working. So she requested Daniel go over there and keep an eye on him and see if he can get information. So then you like, all right, whatever. I'm a private investigator, a detective or whatever, but I'll do it for you. So Naima is out with her little white girlfriend's child. And they shopping, or window shopping or whatever. And she stops and sees some item in the store. And they was like, girl, like, you need to do better. Like, that's some rainbow, Shein type stuff, girl. Like, no, you need to be looking at the designer bags. And they see a Prada purse in the in the window display. And they was like, ooh, we should do that one thing. And she looking like, what one thing? And then it cuts right there. Then the next thing we know, the police call Jax and say Naima has been arrested for stealing. So Jax and Lewis are pissed. So they go down to the police precinct to get her dumb ass. And she being held, and they find out that she skipped school. She skipped and went to go get something to eat with her friends, and that they dared her to go in there and try to steal the purse. And then when her dumb ass got caught, they ran and left her. And I was like, Naima, this is not an after school special. Like, girl, you should know better. You should know better. And that's what Lewis and Jax was trying to tell her. Like, you are a black little girl. Like, you better be glad your ass ain't in a cell somewhere. Like, you know what could have happened. And she was like, and where your little friends at? They left you, you big dumb. So they are pissed at her. She's on punishment. And she ends up getting, I think, suspended from school or something like that. But like I was telling y'all on the first 2 episodes reviews, that Naima's going to be a focus this season because they're not focusing on her. They constantly are pushing her away and not really trying to dig into her and see what she got going on, like her emotions, what she's dealing with, and all of these different things. And especially Jax, until Jax stopped yelling at her all the time and pushing her away, she's never going to sit down and realize that my daughter is struggling. She needs her mom, So then we go back to Ozzie crib. He is in full crazy manic mode. I'm like, is he manic depressive? Is he bipolar? What is going on? He in the house singing the thong song. Dun, dong, 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 dong. Yeah, I like the way. Like, he is doing the most. Daniel and his sister Kristen are looking at him like, they are nervous, especially Daniel, because he ain't never seen him like this. He like, is he all right? She was like, yeah, this how he get or whatever. And they end up talking and rapping with each other and realize like they got a lot in common. Like, we got some chemistry between Daniel and the sister. And I'm like, Daniel, you supposed to be working, not up here trying to flirt with the sister child. But I think that there could be something between them, and a relationship could have started a brewing between the two. So at this point, I don't think that it was the sister anymore. I'm taking her off the list. I don't believe that she was the unaliver. Taking her off the list. She's an enabler, not an unaliver. So Jax and Lewis end up meeting up with her mama and having lunch or whatever with her mama at this beautiful restaurant. And lo and behold, guess who pops up? Her daddy. And she looking like, why are you here? Who invited you? Are you stalking me? And the mama was like, I invited him. And the mama basically tells her that since she been single again, that white man gone, that she's been thinking about some things, and it's time to forgive her father. And she wants Jax to forgive him too. I low-key was like, are y'all back messing around? Because that's what it's giving me. It's giving very much the mama and the daddy are back together, and they trying to get Jax to accept him back first before they reveal to her that they back together, which I know will probably piss Jax off. Because it's like, you go from one bad relationship to another with this white man who, almost schmexually assaulted me. Now you back with my crackhead daddy. Like, girl, enough is enough is enough. But at this point, Jax still is not willing to just forgive and forget. Because, like, how can you? Like, really, how can you? So we then see Bill sitting outside this house doing surveillance. And we looking like, what the is he doing? And this black woman gets out of the car and he calls her number. And we see her look at the phone and just like, oh, no, not right now. And send him some voicemail. And so he just sitting there looking like, all right, okay. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, so this isn't a situation where she's scared of him. she's annoyed with him. So they got my mind to thinking like, okay, maybe he isn't psycho like they were trying to get us to believe in the first 2 episodes. So after that, Ozzie keep on calling that same person, the Alex dude, and the person still ain't answering the phone, and he is freaking out, okay? Because mind you, he's still keeping secrets from Jax and Bill. Daniel and Kristen, like I said, are getting close. They rap into one another, and Ozzie's in the other room or whatever. Next thing they know, they hear a big crash. They go running, and they see Ozzie on the ground, passed out. And he was like, oh my God, like, we need to call the police. She was like, no. So she goes and gets some Narcone and puts it up his nose. And it's like, I don't know if it's like a smelling salt type of thing or whatever. And he immediately comes back to life, gains his breath. And she was like, he OD'd. And Daniel was like, let me call Jax. And so he called Jax. And then we see the whole family there. Brandy from P-Valley, his other attorney. I think she's like his entertainment attorney or something like that. And Jax and Daniel. And Jax is like, he an addict too? Nobody thought to tell me this? Like, it's like, how can I protect him? How can I defend him if y'all not telling me the truth? Like, every time I think I'm on steady ground, here y'all come with some news that knocks me all, off kilter. So she also finds out that he been to rehab, and Jax, they got a personal doctor there that obviously comes when Ozzie is effed up. And Jax is like, why are we not sending him to the hospital? And they was like, no, we cannot risk, anybody finding out about this. He already got enough bad press as it is. Like, this is a family secret that they've been keeping. And so Daniel peeps as they're having a conversation that Kristen leaves the room. And so at this point, Jax is just like fed up with these people, because she just like, y'all are ghetto. Y'all trying to control this man's life. Y'all not thinking about what's best for him. Y'all only thinking about his career and the money and the perception and all of this type of stuff. And she is just over it. And so she leaves pissed off, because I would have been mad too. Because like, y'all keep on setting me up for failure, and I got enough shit going on in my life. So then we see Daniel standing out in the hallway, and Kristen comes out of the bathroom, and we hear the toilet flush. And he was like, you the one got him them pills. And she was like, yes, I was the one that got him the pills. And she was like, it's better that it comes from me, because these other pills and stuff I heard from dealers are laced with fentanyl and all this type of stuff. So at least I know from the person I'm getting it from him, that it's not going to be anything that could hopefully potentially unalive him. So yeah, I got to do what I got to do to protect my brother. Point blank and the period. And Daniel just like, damn. Like, this some shit right here. Like, I don't know what to do. So, at this point now, I don't think that Kristen is the unaliver of Wendy. I don't think that she is. Like I said, I think that she's just an enabler of her brother and will do any and everything to protect him. Right? I don't think that she even knows who unalived Wendy. I don't think that she's aware of any of that. So back at the office, the partners asked Jax about the case. Mind you, they just asked her a few days prior. Like, I want to say it was that Friday. It's Monday, and y'all asking me about the case again. Like, why are y'all riding me like this? Like, excuse me. Like, y'all act like I ain't that girl. Like, y'all act like I'm a new paralegal. It's like, what is going on? So Jax was like, well, we have had, some new shit going on, but we'll talk about it in private, because I don't want to give my clients information out to everybody in this room. So here come Kathy girl, little white Kathy, in her little white suit, busts out her mouth and say, what makes you think you can do whatever the fuck you want?
And
girl, I I wish they would have had Jax leap across that goddamn table in that red dress. Jax say, who, girl? So the partners is like, no. Ladies, calm down. Because Jax was about to go off on her. And they was like, ladies, calm down. They was like, Kathy, you need to apologize. And I'm sorry, but you're going to need to go to HR. First of all, why are you apologizing to her? Why are you apologizing to her? I'm sorry. Yeah, you're good. No, ma'am. She should have been fired right there on the dot. Because like Jax said, how are you coming to me, talking to me like I'm not your superior? Bitch, have you lost your rabbit ass mind, hoe? And so the white girl was like, I'm just saying what we're all thinking, and grabbed her stuff and walked out. And Jax was like, is that what y'all really think? Is that the tea? And so Jax was like, the fact that you think being the only black woman, actually black person in this room allows me to do whatever the hell I want is truly delusional. I continue to be questioned about this case, despite the fact that I bill more hours than anyone in this room.
Shazam!
Okay. And she was like, and a higher hourly rate.
Shazam!
You know what? I'm not going to sit here and tap dance for y'all. If you have any questions, check the firm's letterhead. That should answer all the questions you have.
Shazam!
And I was like, you better tell them, because like, who y'all think y'all am? Y'all act like I'm not. What? And so at this point, she sees that the dynamics are switching here at this office, and that she really can't trust nobody, and she really can't even trust her position in this place because there is no respect there for her. There is no respect there for her because that lady Kathy was totally out of pocket and should have been fired right there on the spot. Right. And I hope Jack's wheels are turning in her head to realize that her two other partners don't see it for her. So Jax has her homegirl, who's the therapist, go to see Ozzie, who obviously needs therapy. So they sit down and have a one-on-one session. And she was like, you know, you could talk to me. This is a safe place. And he was like, there is no safe space. I haven't been safe since I was in the crib. And I said, well, goddamn, that's a statement. That is a motherfucking statement.
And
I was like, damn, he ain't never feel safe in his life. And that's a terrible feeling. And that makes us realize how damaged this dude is. So, you know, he's being very passive aggressive, very condescending in the beginning of their conversation. So much so that he thinks he about to play a mind game with her and tries to flirt with her. And she was like, you really think that's going to work on me? Girl, bye. Okay, you're crazy. I don't want no parts. So when that doesn't work, he immediately begins to comply. And so he goes on to tell her that, yeah, I did coke, I've done pills, I've done heroin. And he says that Wendy was the one to help him get clean and help him stay clean. And he then goes on to admit to having consensual schmecks with adults on set. Even though they were women, he was still underage and they had no business, you know, coercing, you know, having sexual relations with him. So the Jack's homegirl and therapist, you know, after they have the conversation, she talks to Jax one-on-one, was like, yo, girl, he fucked up. He fucked up. I don't know what to tell you, girl. And Jax was like, do you think that he has a personality disorder? She was like, no, I don't think that is that, but like he messed up in the head. So much so that when she was in the room with him talking, she had to explain to him that what happened to him was a schmooze. Like, that's not normal. That's not okay. So she goes on to tell Jax that Ozzie has no one he can trust but her until he no longer does. And there's no telling what he'll do after that. Like, girl, you better watch yourself. You better watch yourself, because that's a ticking time bomb right there. But here's my thing. The way he switched from being a dickhead to automatically then just talking to her made me think that he was telling the truth about the things that happened to him, but I think that he was acting, because we've seen him do practice, you know, in the mirror and all of this type of stuff. It made me think that he was acting and giving her the sob story that he knew that she wanted to hear. Like, let me go ahead and just tell her what she want to hear and have them sympathize with me to further keep them away from the truth. I don't think that he was being real and authentic in that moment at all. I do personally think that the nigga got a personality disorder. I think that she was fully wrong on that. I don't think that he was having a genuine moment with the therapist revealing these things and wanting help. I think this is another act for Mr. Ozzie, and they fell for it. So then we see Bill having lunch and the partners pop up on him. And he was like, oh, like, dang, I didn't know y'all ate here. He's like, nah, we actually came here to see you. And Bill says, he's making progress with Jax. And the partners tell him that they need to know what she's up to because Jax keeps all her information close to the chest. She don't really reveal much that's going on with her cases. We want to know how she think, how she moving, because they got something big coming up. And they was like, we need for you to gain intel on Jackson, come back to us and tell us. And Bill was like, well, you said if I buttered up to her and got on her next case, that would give me the experience I needed to make partner. And so one of the partners was like, I mean, it would be a shame to have all of those billable hours for nothing, meaning you do all this work and then you still don't become partner. So he was like, all right, I'll do it. But the expression on his face was given very much he was torn morally because he didn't want to be no snitch. Because that's what he was like, basically, y'all want me to be a snitch. And so you can tell now that the writers purposely tried to portray him as this psychopath in the beginning to throw us off, but he's really not a bad person at all. He really was just somebody that was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Opportunistic and wanted to, go to the next level, but he ain't really trying to be no shady person. Like you could tell he's growing to like and respects Jax, and he ain't really trying to be on all of what they on. And he see that these white dudes is playing her and using him to do it. And what I think is they're trying to form a coup and boot Jax the fuck out. That's what obviously they're about to do. And probably partner up with somebody else. So Lewis talks to Naima one-on-one about like, what's been going on with you? Like, what's the tea? And she explains to him that she only became friends with the little white girls because she can't stand little Hattie anymore because Hattie, thinks she all that because she on some little dance team or whatever. And plus she a liar. She even went so far as to lie to her about her mama's baby being his. And so Lewis just sitting there like, what? Hold on, y'all. Hey, go to the door and get my pizza and bring it here. All right. Sorry, y'all ordered me a pizza for dinner. Okay. So Lewis is just sitting there like, and I was like, how did y'all think y'all was gonna be able to keep that a secret? Like Hattie wasn't gonna go back and tell her, or like she wasn't gonna get wind somehow, some way. Like old girl ain't talking, like Tony ain't talking to her friends. Like it was gonna get back to her. I don't understand why y'all didn't never tell these kids in the first place. Like y'all stupid. So he keeping up with the lie, even though the daughter done said, I hate when people lie to me. So this is going to further push her away from her parents because y'all ain't keeping us in the dark. Y'all lying to us. Y'all further pushing me away. Y'all don't never got time for me. Like, what is going on? So then Bill, we see checks on Jax one day as he's about to leave the office. And as they're, rapping to each other, it's brought up that Kathy was fired. And I was like, that's what you get, bitch. So they talking to each other and she reveals to him that Ozzie OD'd. And he was like, what? Like, for real? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, but I'm not telling anybody because, our clients desire our trust and I'm firm on giving them that. So Bill was like, well, how about to keep an eye on him, we do weekly schmug tests on him just to make sure he's on the straight and narrow. She was like, actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea. And so she thanks him for that. And she was like, you know what? Keep up the good work. You just might make partner after all. And he was like, thinking in his head, like, damn. And I'm up here, going behind her back, snitching on her. Like, he feeling really bad about what's up. So I think that he's going to, of course, end up snitching to Jax and telling Jax what the tea is and what the partners are up to. And I believe by the end of this season, when they think that they playing Jax, Jax will be the one to end up having the better hand and end up playing them. And her and Bill gonna end up teaming up with one another. They either might, like I said, team up together and go against the partners and get them out, or I can see her and Bill leaving and starting their own firm together. So Jax meets with her daddy one-on-one for dinner and basically let him know, look, if you're not serious about really working on our relationship and really trying to be in my life, then you can step, because I ain't got time for this. I'm tired. And so the daddy was like, I got you. Like, I'm here. And so she like, all right. But she said, like, I feel like I'm not being told something. And I feel like that it's the mama and the daddy back together. That's what I think that it is. Or maybe I was thinking, what if he got a kid out there that he never told Jax about? Because Jax has lived her whole life as an only child. What if she got a sibling? What if he got like a little kid or something, like a little sister or a little brother? I think that could also be an option. So Lewis ends up telling Jax about the Hattie situation. She like, oh my God. And so Jax was like, what you do? He was like, I mean, shit, I just went along with it. Like, I ain't tell him. So Jax then reveals to him how she saw her daddy and that she think he hiding something. And so they look, with everything we got going on, we just need to get the kids together and sit down and tell them what's been going on. And so they agree, because their son will be coming in home from school soon. And I was like, ooh, this conversation is going to go left. So then Bill, we see, is back at that house that he was surveilling. And he jumps out the car when the woman gets out of her truck. And he was like, I forgot what the chick name was, but it was obvious it was his wife or his ex-wife, or they're separated, whatever. He was like, hey, I just want to see the kids. Can I see the kids? She was like, no, you cannot see the kids. Like, no, you're not going to see them. And she closes the door in his face. And I was like, damn. So it's a situation where I was wrong. He is in a relationship or was married to this black woman. They have kids with each other. It's obvious, it seems to me like they're separated. I don't know what he's done to make her push him away from seeing their kids. But she's not allowing him to see his kids, even though he really wants to see them. So it's a storyline there that is still developing. Now, I don't know if he had an abusive moment or something with her. Maybe he was too focused on his career and not on them. I don't know, but I don't think that Bill is a bad guy anymore. So I was wrong about that theory. But hopefully as the story develops, we'll figure out why the wife ain't letting him see their kids, which is fucked up. So then Jax tells Daniel that she believes Ozzie was home the night Wendy was unalived, but that the person that unalived her was the person that provided him with the schmugs. And she doesn't think that it's the sister Kristen, though. She thinks that it was somebody else. So we then see in the last scene, Ozzie's dealer, who he copped from that night, finally calls him back, and he asks him to come forward and say that he was with him that night. But dude was like, I'm not doing that. You not number one on the call sheet no more, bruh. And this ain't whatever the show name is, like, you on your own. And he hang up, and Ozzie looking like, oh my God, like, I am fucked. And so when the dude said what he said, it made me think that he was a cast member on that show and that he was jealous of Ozzie, because he was like, you ain't number one on the call sheet. Like, you don't run me here. Like, I'm the person in the driver's seat regarding this situation. So it's obvious to me that he was the one that gave Ozzie the schmugs that night and had something to do with unaliving Wendy. Maybe he unalived Wendy to fully, like, destroy Ozzie's career. That's what I'm thinking. And it's trying to paint the picture that Ozzie was the one that did it to ruin his life. That's what I'm getting from it so far. So that dude, Alex, that was in the car is my number one suspect of the person that unalived Wendy. That's what I think this week. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode. Who do y'all think is the unaliver at this point? Let's talk about the episode down below in the comment section. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. What are your theories? I'm going to give this past week's episode of Reasonable Doubt an A. I really enjoyed it. Guys, please make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so you know my videos drop. I love you, T Squad, and I will see you guys on next week's episode. Bye.